Hi, welcome to the second episode of the Rise podcast, where we talk about navigating life as an adult. I'm Ryan, I'm 37, and in this video, I'm going to talk about surviving 95% chance of cancer. But before that, I would like to thank you very much for watching my first episode. It is now currently at 25 views, I think. Still, it means a lot to me that there are actually people who watch my stories, and no matter how many or how few they are, I truly appreciate every viewer. My only hope is that my stories will benefit you in life in some ways. I'm sorry for the bad lighting and the bad camera angle last time. It was like a very in the moment thing, so I didn't very much prepare for it. But this time, as you can see, I have set a proper lighting, studio lighting vlog setup here, and I hope you enjoy that. So, coming back to the story about 95% chance of cancer. Well, 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago, in 2015, I started to feel a pain in my arm, my right arm. It wasn't exactly a very noticeable pain. It was first like some kind of tingling at the elbow. And so I got to a private hospital and got it checked, and they x-rayed me and they found nothing. So I thought it was just maybe some kind of problem with my neck or my spine. And I just went to some acupuncture session to get it sorted out. So the pain lessened for a while, but then it came back and it's more intense. But I was too busy. I was too busy with my work as a wedding filmmaker back then. I was quite successful with a lot of bookings. So, and it was the main breadwinner in the family. My wife didn't work, and raising a child is quite expensive. So I had to take on a lot of bookings just to pay the bills. And 4 years later, in 2019, the pain was so much that it kept me awake at night. I couldn't sleep. I had to sit up and drink painkillers to kill the pain. And so I asked my dad, who was a doctor, and he told me to meet a doctor specializing in nerves. So I went to meet him, and he put me in an MRI scan, and they found out the tumor inside my right shoulder. It was a very, very big tumor, 12 centimeters. And they told me they suspected it was cancer with a 95% chance of it being a cancer. At first, I didn't know what a tumor is, and I didn't know much about cancer. I was like, what? I was 31. I was young and healthy, and I have never been hospitalized before. So yeah, it was crazy. Um, I remember I was sitting in that hospital, the Mình hospital in Long Biên in Hanoi, and it was summer. It was May, and it was raining, and I sat there in the hospital lounge and holding the papers, and I didn't know what to do. I called my aunt. I didn't call my mom because um, I'm scared of my mom. She would freak out and, you know, try to put the blame on me or something. And so my aunt is easier to talk to. So I talked to her. And of course, later she would talk to my mom. And so the main hospital suggests that I should go to Việt Đức Hospital, where they are the best at operating on nerves and tumor. So I went there and I got my operation schedule at the end of June. Since my parents were doctors and they used their connection and they asked the doctors at Việt Đức Hospital about my case, and the doctors at Việt Đức said my case is very rare. They had not operated on such a case for like 5 or 10 years. What they thought they was gonna do is they were gonna cut off my right arm. like totally. And my parents freaked out. And well, I said my parents, but it was actually only my mom. Because I will talk about my dad later. It was a long story. But so my mom got freaked out, and she asked my aunt what to do, and my aunt said, well, she had treated some kind of cancer before in Singapore, so she suggested that I should go to Singapore, and so they sent my papers to Singapore and see what the doctors would say, and the doctors in Singapore, they took my case and they told us that they can operate on it, and they can use very precise surgery techniques to cut off the tumor and try to keep my nerves intact. Oh, because the tumor was in a very, very critical area. It is called, I'm not sure if I pronounce correctly, but it's called brachial plexus, brachial plexus, where all the nerves in the head run through this part and into the arm to control the arm. So the tumor was very big and it covered all the nerves here. Well, bad luck of all places to be, huh? And so June 2019, exactly 6 years ago, I went to Singapore to have my tumor removed. I thought it was just a quick surgery. I had never had a surgery before, so it was quite an experience. If you have never had a surgery before, then you will never know how it feels like. You know, you would think the operation is like going to sleep for a few hours and then you wake up, right? But not exactly. I was wheeled into the surgery room, and the doctors, they injected the anesthetic into me. And I remember they were counting like 10, 9, 8, 7, and then boom, I woke up. And that was it. It was so fast. Like you didn't know anything during the operation. It wasn't like sleep. If you sleep, you still kind of have some sense of time. But when you are under anesthetic, you didn't have any sense of time at all. It was just you went under and then you woke up. It was crazy. And so, scariest thing wasn't about the operation because I had no idea what was going on. But it was very scary. When I woke up, I was lying on a hospital bed in an ICU, intensive care unit. It was a small room with no window. It's me alone on a machine kind of bed, and there was there were many fluid running into me and outside of me. They were pumping nutrients and painkiller into my body, and I couldn't feel my right arm at all. I couldn't move. I couldn't move it. It was totally paralyzed. I can only use my left arm. And when I looked down, my whole right arm was covered in white bandage, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe at all. I felt like there was very heavy weight on my chest. Later they found out there was some kind of fluid leakage into my lungs during the operation. So that's why I couldn't speak. So I was like, I couldn't speak. Yeah, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't speak. I was paralyzed. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. And all I did for 3 days was just lying on that chair, on that bed. So it was kind of like a bed and a chair thing. It's a bed, but it can be seated up like a chair. So, and I was lying there for 3 days and just had only a clock in front of me to look at to know the time. I couldn't see any window outside to know it was day or night. And my mom can only visit me during the day. So at night, when there was no one beside me, and in a very cold and scary room with all the machines, and so I told people during that time, uh, I achieved some kind of enlightenment. It's like meditation, or it can also be described as some kind of the feeling you have when you're on your deathbed, you was gonna die. But before that, I didn't think much about dying. um, I think most of us think about dying like you will just get older and one day you kind of drop dead, right? But in those moments, being very weak and helpless, couldn't breathe, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, it was very, very scary. But I was very fragile, like my life and my very existence was on a string. But a very strange sensation, a very strange feeling was running through me. Of course, I was scared, but there was also another feeling. I feel some kind of warmth and love, and not just for anyone, it's for everyone. I thought what I was going through was very, very horrible. And I wish that no one had to go through such a thing, even my worst enemies. At those moments, it felt like in those moments, I feel like forgiving everyone, and everything was just not a big deal at all. You can forgive everyone. You can make peace with everyone. When you face death, nothing matters. Well, that was what I felt. I'm not saying this because it makes me noble or kind or anything. It was just um, how I felt back then. Another thought was running through me too, as I was lying there, helpless, and couldn't see the sun or the wind or anything outside. I started to realize how precious a normal life is. In that moment, I thought if I could trade my place with a Grab driver, I would do that. Because a Grab driver could have the strength and the chance to go everywhere he likes. And me, I was lying there, helpless, and no amount of money could make a helpless, dying man have the chance and the strength to go anywhere. It was a very powerful realization that I would love to share with everyone. If you are healthy, that is the biggest treasure you can have. No matter, it's not about how much money you have, it's about being healthy, have a healthy body, a healthy mind. If you wake up every morning and you can eat, you can walk, you can choose where to have breakfast, you can choose where to go today. Congratulations. Many people didn't wake up to see the daylight. It was a very simple but rather powerful realization that I hope to share with you today. So, back to the 95% chance of cancer. After the surgery, I thought they would tell me if it was cancer or not, but still, they didn't tell me, and I didn't dare to ask. So I went back to Vietnam to rest for 2 or 3 weeks. And one day I got a message from the hospital and they told me to come back to Singapore to receive the news on the cancer thing. And it was scary. I thought, why didn't they just tell me on the phone, but I think it was just a procedure. So I flew back to Singapore. They told me it was a very rare kind of tumor. And so they had to gather all the best minds in the hospital and, discuss it through. And they concluded it was not cancer. It was just a very, very big tumor in a very critical location. Still, they wanted me to go through a few weeks of radiation and another surgery to connect the nerves in my right arm from here to over here because this place is cut off. And I went through all that and I have been healthy ever since. So, some people may see this as a very unlucky situation. I was young, I was doing well in business, I was healthy, I got everything. But suddenly, I lost my arm, and I was a filmmaker, so losing one arm could mean I would never be able to do my job again. But the way I see it, I'm very, very lucky. I was very lucky to got it sorted out okay in Singapore. It was not cancer. I still have the chance to live, and I still got one arm and two legs, of course. And during the last 6 years, I have learned to cope with it. I have learned to use one arm to do like 99% of everything I used to do. I can still shoot. I can still edit. I even got a successful TikTok channel with like 30,000 followers now. Well, not many, but it's many to me. And 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. Oh, that's a lot. Well, imagine 2,000 people sitting in front of me. I would be so shocked. So I think the key to happiness is just enjoying the little things that you have, no matter how little it is. Enjoying a healthy life, a healthy body, enjoying the little sunshine that you get every day for waking up. Enjoy the food that you got to choose to eat. Enjoy seeing your family members, your relatives, your friends. Enjoy all that. That is happiness. Happiness lies in very, very ordinary thing. Okay, so that's my second podcast. Thank you so much for listening to me rambling on that. I'm still very new to doing this podcast thing, and talking to in English is not very easy too. I have not used English for like, I don't know, 10, 15 years since after university, so it was rusty. And I know my pronunciation and my accent is on around places. I don't exactly have an accent, and my pronunciation isn't very good. I got 8 in IELTS, but only 7 in speaking. Reading and writing is good, 8.5 or 9, but speaking is my weakness. And so I hope by doing this, I improve my speaking skill too. I hope. Okay, so again, I'm rambling. Thank you. Thank you so much for staying with me. I hope you have an enjoyable week. Smile. Remember to smile a lot. Enjoy every little thing. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.